Nothing is as bad or as good as you think. The concept of regression to the mean is one that people don't talk about enough. And essentially, it is just that, is that nothing is as good or as bad as you think. So basically, what that means is that no matter how good things are going or how bad things are going in your life at whatever particular moment is not an indictment of everything. And it sounds simplistic and it sounds like common sense, but it's very much overlooked, especially whenever emotional state comes into play and kind of affects the way that you think. You know what I mean? It's very easy to ride that high of whatever pivotal moment is going on in your life. You know, whatever's getting you up, whatever you're ecstatic about, whatever is driving you. It's very easy to let that consume you in moments. And get lost in it, lost in the the euphoria of it. You know, but it's still important to be grateful and be, view wins as wins. But it is also important to stay grounded and to understand that regression to the mean exists, so that no matter how good the things can get, it always regresses to the mean. And it's not necessarily a pessimistic, outlook on it, but it's, it's more of a realistic one. And it's one that can help perpetuate success, to kind of face the reality that is that. Because, there's this saying that weak men create hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men. And that concept exists very much, like it's cyclical, you know what I mean? Like it's a constant cycle that wraps around because of negligence towards that idea that, regression to the mean exists. You know what I mean? Whenever you are oblivious to that, it is very easy to kind of get lost in that euphoria of a high moment, which in turn, you let your guard down. You stop acting as proactively. You stop thinking 3 steps forward because you're content on where you're at and what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you develop in the moment now, overtly so, or just overdoing it, like excelling, thriving in the moment, you lose sight of the future. You know what I mean? It's, like I said, it's important to still view your successes as wins, because if not, then what are you working for? You know what I mean? Like, if nothing satisfies you, then what's gonna keep you going, But it's important to stay grounded in that matter so that you don't get lost in the win and in turn, start becoming a worse person or worse man because of it, and let your guard down and, let your, in a sense, defenses slip. Like, it sounds weird to say, I guess, but, these things that, like I said, a proactive response, the things that you were thinking proactively about, you start slipping. Your priorities start slipping because the forefront of your mind is that win. You know what I mean? And that win, the serotonin that you get is important, but it will fade. And whenever it does, you need to be ready. You need to be ready to keep going. You need to keep perpetuating the wins so that they keep coming and they're cumulative. So, but that's kind of the aspect of the wins, like the highs being a regression to the mean. The same thing also works in adverse. No matter how bad you think a current situation is, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's never as bad as you think it is, but it's never as good as you think it is. You know what I mean? Like, because it's very easy. Just in the same token as you get lost in euphoria and you get lost in the high of the moment, especially if you're getting praise or whatever it is, the same way that it's easy to get lost in that, it's just as easy to get lost in a pessimistic mindset. You know what I mean? A negative spiral of just downward thoughts, you know? So if you're being, what am I trying to say? If you have a negative viewpoint and a negative mindset, it's a very easy way to go down a negative rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole goes extremely deep. Like, there is no bottom to that rabbit hole. You can just, think negatively until you are in the ground. And it's, only going to make your situation worse. And then you're going to be kind of trapped in the, not trapped, but okay, like mentally it's going to, whatever it is, it's going to compound. It's cumulative, right? So if you have a negative mindset, and in turn, you start seeing these aspects of your life being affected negatively. Nothing seems to work out, nothing seems to whatever, but it's only perpetuated by that negative mindset. If you feel like nothing you do can work out or like nothing's working, whatever, right? You are not going to have that outlook like things will work out, which in turn, they won't. It's manifestation, you know what I mean? If you have a goal or an outcome that you're striving for, that you crave, you want to achieve, but you have a pessimistic mindset about it, it's like, I'm never going to I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to do it. You're not, you know what I mean? Because if you're not pushing yourself to that point of achieving, nobody else is going to. It's only you, right? So that same, context applies on the flip side of negativity. Understanding that, like, you can do anything you set your mind to, and it's about mindset. Not being too ego-driven, too full of yourself, which in turn you let your guard down, but also not being too negative and down about yourself that you feel like you can't achieve anything. Because both of those are very, have a very much like a net negative effect on you. I mean, the best course of action is to keep that hunger and keep that humility about you, because that's where productivity comes from. That's how you achieve things. So, just a little 2 cents. Bye.